notes, sorry. So, the main focus of what I want to talk to you about today is looking at the comparison between Nigeria and Canada. The reason I'm drawing that comparison is because, first of all, you bring it to, for instance, Alberta provincial government officials, bureaucrats, federal bureaucrats, they say, whoa, 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 why are you comparing the Lubicon to Nigeria? The Lubicon, they're a bit of a different case. We've got a whole bunch of other bands you can use as a comparison. My response is I chose the worst case scenario, or one of the worst case scenarios of government treatment and communication to that community in Nigeria, and the same here in Canada. 118 years is too long to wait for a land change. This is ridiculous. So, what do we have in common? Well, first of all, we have oil. We have marginalized communities. We have groups that have been evicted from their homelands. And we have third world conditions. And don't kid yourself. Just because Nigeria has a label that it's a third world country, and we're labeled as a first world country, doesn't mean those third world conditions don't exist in both countries. At the end of the day, you think of Nigeria, and you think guns, you think weapons, you think war, chaos, corruption. It's just a mess there, right? It's a deep, dark, black mess that you don't understand what's going on. Canada, we've got democracy. And we've got legislation and programs and discussion and transparency and all these nice, wonderful things that make us feel good about ourselves. And they are things that we need to keep strong. We do have those things, but they aren't 100% to every single person. At the end of the day, when you look at the Agoni in Nigeria and the Lubicon in Canada, they are both issues. Whether they are sold with guns or malicious and manipulative legislation, the result is the same. The communities live in utter destitution here and in Nigeria. They struggle with poverty levels that far exceed the national average. Yeah, people are poor in Nigeria. The vast majority are poorer than they are in Canada. But these people are living below that national average, and here too, way more, way below the national average. Abysmal health conditions. We heard on the news a couple weeks back that one person got on a plane in Prague with tuberculosis. Granted, it is a special kind of tuberculosis and not treated very well, but we're at risk of epidemics in our native communities here in Canada. Epidemics, and we hear about one person getting on a plane in Prague. That's ridiculous. There are shockingly high levels of suicide, of alcoholism. It's a community of depression because we are destroying identities, and we are destroying people's cultures, and we are taking over not just land, not just with money, but with our entire culture. The life expectancies are getting lower than national averages, infant mortality, you name it, is going bad. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't a result of lazy people not standing up for themselves and taking a direction in their lives. This is a result of government inaction and government greed. How many times have we heard about the Alberta advantage? About Albertans, everything, this economy is all for the Albertans. I ask you, where are the Lubicon in this word all? Where are our native communities in this word all? Violence is occurring in both communities. In Nigeria, it's with guns, and in Alberta, it's with legislation and inaction. As one author who's researched the subject extensively said, it's a war without bullets. People still die, cultures still die, the guns just aren't there as much. But the comparison goes on and on. The dependency on oil, we hear it all the time, it's the lifeblood of our economy. Alberta is 34% of the provincial revenue and 25% of the GDP. In Nigeria, a country that's supposed to be completely dependent on oil, the GDP is just 20%, not 25%. You might ask, why do I compare a province to a country? Fair question. The reason is simple. In Nigeria, the oil is controlled at the national level, and in Canada, the oil is controlled at the provincial level. So those are the statistics we're looking at. The histories of these two groups are very similar if you don't see the comparison yet. In the 1900s, both groups were colonized by the British with no consent. Their land was taken from them with no consent. And then up until the 1930s, they were pretty much left alone because their land wasn't seen as valuable. Nigeria was a marshy swamp, the Niger Delta, and the area of the Lubicon was called the isolated territories. Come the 1930s, we start seeing oil developments, we start seeing the lands are targeted for timber, and surprise, surprise, the government wants to talk to them. In the 1970s, both communities staged uprisings that lasted through the 80s. Peaceful protests, both communities. Yet the government always responds with armed presence or open fire. The leaders have become heroes to activists around the world in both conditions, but in both conditions they are still stagnant. Here we are, a treaty was signed in 1899. The Lubicon were promised a reserve in 1939. We are now in 2007 and nothing has happened. This cannot continue. The policies are motivated by oil. It's consistently at the expense of the community. They talk about, well, we've got to keep doing this. It's for the best interest of all Albertans, except the community that's getting the most harm. The government strategies also consistently allow the industry to act. There are notorious conditions where, in Nigeria, for instance, there have been oil explosions. The government and the industry have had to pay nothing back to the people. In Canada, you have companies who are supposed to go to the Alberta Energy and Utilities Board before they start any work on the land. They have to get permission from the people who own the land. They're getting permission from the wrong people, first of all. Second of all, they don't even get the permission. They have started logging up in that area previously before any condition was met at all. And when they finished, the government finally found out, thanks to the work of opposition critics, they got a little slap on the wrist, were detained a little while, and they're back at it. So you can see here that what's going on is, well, essentially both countries, one other point, corruption. This is one that I really want to stress. We talk about corruption in Nigeria all the time. Nigeria is known for its email scams. You probably heard about the people that forward you, X amount of dollars, and 10 times the amount of money back. That's corruption in the scene. But Nigeria has started a program where they're trying to weed out corrupt government officials. Now, it's not perfect. It is politically slanted, and I'm not saying that it's a good program necessarily. But at least starting to call corruption corruption. Here in Canada, we have the same problem. We have judges who have presided over Lubicon cases where those judges are ex-oil company lawyers or ex-advisors to the government. And they're now judges, and that's considered impartial. And surprise, surprise, none of those cases have been won by the Lubicon. In Nigeria, that is thrown against the wall and called corruption. Here is the conflict of interest. We should try and avoid it. It's probably not a regular thing that's happening, but these kind of things are hard to avoid. It's okay. It's not okay. What's going on in our country are third world conditions. People's human rights are being abused. The United Nations has called on Canada to stop the treatment, and it continues. Amnesty International is here today, thank you for their presence, has called on Canada to take action and stop this from happening. It's not happening. Canada remains silent and allows us to go on and gives you all the kind of lines who want to hear about it, to manipulate the public into thinking that Canada is in the right. Canada is in the wrong and we need to stop it. Thank you.